Imagine this. Your heart's racing. Your palms are sweating. Your stomach feels like it's been tied into 100 knots. You're pacing, second-guessing yourself, and deep down, you're wishing you could just escape the moment. We label it anxiety. We label it as something wrong with us, something broken, something we have to fix or suppress. But what if I told you that what you're really feeling is energy? What if anxiety isn't the enemy, but the exact same sensation as excitement, just misinterpreted? Stick with me, because in the next few minutes, I'll show you how to flip that switch. And once you see it, you'll never unsee it. Now, here's a crazy fact most people don't realize. Physiologically, anxiety and excitement look nearly identical. Same fast heartbeat, same butterflies, same sweaty palms. The only real difference is the story you attach to the sensation. That's it, the story. And if you can learn to rewrite that story, even by just 10 cents, you change everything. You've been trained your whole life to believe nerves are bad. Remember school presentations? Hands shaking, voice cracking, hoping nobody notices. And maybe you thought, I'm just not good under pressure. But here's the hidden twist. The world's best performers, athletes and leaders feel the exact same symptoms you do. The only difference? They've trained themselves to say, this isn't fear, this is fuel. And once you make that shift, you stop being trapped by the story. Before I go deeper, let me drop a question for you. What's your biggest struggle with anxiety right now? No judgment. I've probably done worse. Comment it down below. And if you're still watching by this point, type "still watching" in the comments so I know you're one of the real ones taking notes instead of scrolling past. Here's where it gets wild. Researchers at Harvard actually ran an experiment where they told one group of participants to try calming down before a stressful task. Deep breathing, relaxation, that whole routine. The other group was told to literally say out loud, I'm excited. Guess which group performed better? The I'm excited group crushed it. Why? Because they didn't waste energy fighting their body. They leaned into the sensation. They reframed it. They stopped resisting what was already happening. Now pause here and think about your own life. That text message you've been avoiding, the conversation at work you've been putting off, the dream project you've been too nervous to start. What if the next time your body fires up, instead of saying, oh no, here comes the anxiety, you said, perfect, this is energy. My system is firing me up for action. The feelings don't change, but the meaning does. And here's a sneaky little loop I want you to notice. Remember at the beginning, when I said there's one shift that can change everything about how you experience anxiety? Well, we're circling back to it now. It's that phrase, I'm excited. It's so ridiculously simple that people dismiss it. But that's the exact mistake. The people who try it, who actually lean into it, are the ones who unlock the hidden door. But let's keep it real for a second. Will this feel awkward at first? Absolutely. You'll probably laugh at yourself when you whisper, I'm excited, while your hands are trembling before a meeting. But here's the invisible trick your brain doesn't tell you. Repetition rewires meaning. Every time you do it, your brain gets the memo. These sensations equal opportunity, not danger. That's how the reframing sticks. I want you to write this down right now. Literally, grab a pen or your notes app. Write, anxiety equals energy. Energy equals excitement. Don't just passively watch me say it. Make it physical. That one sentence could be the reminder that flips you out of panic and into possibility the next time it hits. Now, let's add a layer. Because maybe you're thinking, okay, I get the concept, but what about when my anxiety spirals out of control? What if it doesn't feel like excitement at all? Here's the thing, reframing doesn't erase discomfort, it just channels it. You can still acknowledge, yes, my body feels shaky, my chest is tight, but instead of attaching fear, you attach purpose. You say, this means I'm about to do something meaningful. And in that instant, the weight lifts just a little. By the way, if you've ever had a moment where you managed to flip nerves into focus, whether it was before a game, a test, or a tough conversation, drop it in the comments. Those stories not only help you, they help someone else scrolling who's looking for hope. And trust me, your perspective might hit them harder than anything I could ever say. Now here's the invisible loop working again. You've probably noticed I still haven't given you the full method for locking this habit into place long term. And that's on purpose. Because when you watch to the end, not only will you know exactly how to do it, but you'll catch the small adjustment that most people miss. That's the one that decides whether this sticks for a week or a lifetime. Let's play out a scenario. You're about to walk into a job interview. Your stomach is doing backflips, your throat's dry, your brain's screaming, abort mission. In that exact moment, what would most people try to do? Calm down, breathe, pretend nothing's happening. But what happens? The harder you try to calm down, the more anxious you feel. It's like trying not to think about pink elephants. But instead, if you say, I'm excited, my body is giving me power, I'm wired up for peak performance, suddenly the sensations become your ally, not your enemy. That's the reframe. And once you've practiced it in the small moments, answering a phone call, speaking up in a meeting, walking into a crowded room, you're building the muscle for the big ones. That's how you create momentum. You don't wait until the high-stakes game to practice. You flip the script in the little reps so that when it matters most, the story is automatic. Quick pause. If your YouTube channel was a serial, what would it be called? I know, random. But I ask because the best answers usually show up in the weirdest places, and I want to see what your imagination comes up with. Drop your answer below, and don't think too hard about it. The funnier, the better. Which brings me to the deeper question. Why does this even work? Why can three little words, I'm excited, override years of conditioning? The answer is simple. Your brain hates contradictions. If your body says, I'm anxious, but your words say, I'm excited, your brain works overtime to make sense of it. And over time, the words win. Because language is the steering wheel of emotion. Where your words go, your state follows. And here's where I'll leave you hanging for a second. There's one small, almost invisible tweak you can add to this reframe that makes it 10 times stronger. I'll show you what it is in just a minute. But before I do, I want you to imagine this. What would your life look like if instead of avoiding nerves, you welcomed them? If every surge of anxiety was actually the green light that said go? Think about that version of yourself, because that's the path we're walking right now. Here's the invisible tweak I promised you earlier. You don't just say, I'm excited. You anchor it to the outcome you want. For example, instead of whispering, I'm excited, say, I'm excited to share this idea. Or I'm excited to crush this workout. Or I'm excited to finally ask for that raise. When you attach your excitement to a clear outcome, your brain stops spinning in vague panic and locks onto direction. That's the accelerator pedal most people miss. Now, let me ask you something. Have you ever had that weird mix of nerves and excitement before something big? Like you can't tell if you're terrified or just hyped? That's the sweet spot. That's the exact place where reframing has the most power. Don't numb it. Don't run from it. Channel it. That tension is what sharpens your edge. Here's another thing almost nobody tells you. If you suppress anxiety over and over, you train your brain to see it as dangerous. And that keeps the cycle alive. But when you reframe it, you're doing the opposite. You're teaching your brain, this sensation is safe. This sensation is useful. And with every rep, you're weakening anxiety's grip and strengthening your response. By the way, comment below with this phrase if you're still with me right now, still watching. It sounds silly, but it's a signal to me that you're not just passively scrolling, you're actually sticking it out, soaking this in, and building something new inside yourself. And honestly, I take notes on the real ones. Now picture this. You're walking into a party where you don't know anyone. The old script says everyone's judging me. Your chest tightens, your hands get clammy. But the new script, you say, perfect. I'm excited to meet at least one new person tonight. Same symptoms, different meaning. And suddenly the room feels less like a battlefield and more like an opportunity zone. And I know what you're thinking. That sounds great, but what if I mess it up? What if I try to reframe it and it doesn't work? Here's the truth. It won't work every time. You'll slip. You'll forget. Sometimes the anxiety will feel overwhelming, but even one successful reframe is proof to your brain that you can change the story. And that's all you need. Proof. Once you've seen it work once, you'll never fully believe the lie that you're powerless again. Here's a bonus strategy I almost forgot to tell you about. It's ridiculously effective. Pair the phrase, I'm excited, with movement. Jumping jacks, shaking out your arms, pacing with intention. Why? Because energy has to move. If you let it stay bottled, it feels like panic. If you let it flow, it feels like drive. That's why athletes jump around before games. They're not calming down, they're channeling. And you can do the exact same thing before any high-pressure moment in your life. Think about the last time you had butterflies before something that mattered. Maybe it was a first date, a public speech, or hitting publish on a video you weren't sure about. What if instead of interpreting those butterflies as weakness, you said, "This is the price of growth. This is what opportunity feels like." That reframe alone turns dread into anticipation. And anticipation is the fuel of momentum. Let me slip in a quick reminder here. Don't just watch me say this. Take notes. Write down one line that hits you, because that act of writing it down is what makes it stick. Don't be passive. You're building new neural pathways right now, and every little action reinforces it. Here's where we close the loop. Earlier, I said the one reframe that could change everything was simply saying, "I'm excited." And we added the tweak, linking it to a purpose. But now let me give you the part I forgot to tell you until now. This only sticks if you practice it when the stakes are low. If you only try to use it in the middle of a panic attack, it feels impossible. But if you practice when the stakes are small, waiting in line, dialing a number, walking into a room, you build a habit of interpreting nerves as excitement. So when the big moment comes, you don't have to think. It's already automatic. And if you're serious about taking this on, here's your challenge. In the next 24 hours, catch yourself once, just once, when you feel those nerves and flip it. Say, "I'm excited." Attach it to what you want to do. Move your body to release the energy. That's it. One rep. Do it once. And when you feel the difference, come back and tell me in the comments what happened. Your story might be the one that convinces someone else to finally try. Let's end with this thought. Anxiety doesn't mean you're broken. It means your system is alive. It means you care. It means something is at stake. And if you can meet that energy with a different story, you stop being chained by fear and start being powered by excitement. That's the reframe. That's the key. And once you've felt it work, even for a second, you'll never look at those sensations the same way again. So do me a favor. If you learned something today, hit subscribe. And if you're still here, comment watching down below, so I know you're one of the people really in this with me. Because I know this. Whether you're battling nerves, chasing dreams, or standing at the edge of a big decision, the shift you make today can ripple through every part of your life. And maybe, just maybe, this was the moment where it started for you.